Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This is Salim Akhtar Malik, your host at the Observation Post channel. In this session, I'll talk to you about the sectarian militancy along the Pak-Afghan border. The Pak-Afghan border has always remained volatile even before Pakistan's independence. But there was a surge of militancy in 2001 as a result of the Twin Tower incident when terrorists sponsored by Daesh bombed the Twin Towers in New York. The Americans accused the Taliban government in Afghanistan. The Taliban were in government in power in Afghanistan even in 2001. So the Americans accused them of harboring Osama bin Laden in Afghanistan, whom they considered as the mastermind of the 9/11 attacks. And taking it as a pretext, they invaded Afghanistan in pursuit of Osama bin Laden. Now, the areas, that is the border areas, popularly known as the tribal areas, were earlier classified as the federally administered tribal areas of Pakistan, or FATA in short, because they were administered by the center or from the center. These areas were merged in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province in May 2018. And thereafter, the various tribal agencies were converted into tribal districts. And one such district is the Kurram district, where the sectarian militancy is taking place. So you can say that Kurram district is the hub of sectarian militancy because it is a Shia dominated district, and it is the only district in Pakistan which has a Shia majority. The areas all along the border, formerly known as the tribal areas, have been used by the militants from Pakistan, Afghanistan, as well as from Iran for their militant activities, for launching terrorist operations, particularly in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province. The militants also use these areas for reorganizing and restructuring their forces, as well as for rest and retrofit. That militant war, or the sectarian militancy in this area, that is the Kurram district, is a proxy war. It is a series of proxy wars between the Iranian and Afghan proxies. Iranian proxies are mainly the Shia proxies, and the proxies from Afghanistan are the predominantly Sunni proxies. And the turbulence in this area is due to this sectarian war. There are two major reasons for the sectarian war in Kurram district. And these are number one is the generational gap. That is the gap between the younger and the older generations. It is mainly due to poverty and joblessness, which gravitate the younger generation or the youth to seek inspiration from the militants. The second reason is that the traditional conflict resolution management system based on the tribal jirgas has been diluted because of the conflicting Shia-Sunni narratives. So these two major factors, that is the generational gap and the conflicting Shia and Sunni narratives, they drive militancy in this area. Pakistan Army was deployed in this area. I mean, previously the area was administered or the law and order situation was controlled by the frontier constabulary and the local police. But once the Americans invaded Afghanistan, Pakistan Army was deployed as a precautionary measure to stem the tide or to stem the flow of militants from Afghanistan into Pakistan. Because the militants have been using this area as their sanctuaries, they have their firm bases in Afghanistan and they spill over into Pakistan uh, and seek sanctuaries there or hideouts. Over the time, various options have been exercised and new options suggested to control militancy in this area. In spite of Pakistan Army having been deployed in this area since 2001, that is for more than 2 decades, the militancy still exists and it has not been controlled by the Pakistan Army, as well as by frontier constabulary and police. So I was talking about the options which have been presented and exercised from time to time, and new options that have been suggested. The major way or the major option that is in vogue in these areas is to maintain status quo. In such a situation and in such a contingency, the law enforcement agencies, that is the army, FC, and police, they let the militants, that is the Shia and Sunni militants, fight it out among themselves. At the same time, the law enforcement agencies, they remain mostly as silent as spectators and they only intervene when the situation gets out of control and it threatens the settled areas. This is a stopgap measure and it is not very effective and it has not been able to curtail militancy. Another option has been suggested, and that is to divide the areas into Shia and Sunni safe havens through a large transfer of population into Shia and Sunni majority areas. Now, this is also not going to be very effective because other areas which have differences, ethnic differences, for example, in Balochistan, where the Balochs and the Pakhtuns are divided, and in Sindh, where the Sunni and Mahajers, the Mahajers and the Sindhis have differences, the people in those ethnically divided areas would also demand creation of such areas, and that would be tantamount to creating apartheid, like the the suggestions to create a sectarian apartheid in the Kurram district. So this is also not going to work. So what is the way forward? Since it is mainly an economic problem, there is a requirement to generate large-scale economic activity through just and planned exploitation of the natural resources. This area is rich in mineral resources. For example, coal, oil and gas, and lithium reserves. Now, lithium is a mineral which is used in batteries for electric cars. So, if properly utilized, the exploitation of natural resources may generate economic activity that would create jobs and prevent the youth from gravitating towards the militants. And secondly, there should be capacity building of police and frontier constabulary, and thereafter the army should withdraw gradually to the periphery of the militancy hit areas from where it could be available to intervene whenever there is a requirement. This is all what I wanted to say in this video. See you in the next video. Till then, bye-bye.